Coming up, CIS militaries will create a unified communication system. The lower house of the Kazakh parliament approved the bill to ratify the corresponding agreement. Return to the historical homeland. Ethnic Kazakhs from Iran arrived in North Kazakhstan region. A pianist from Kazakhstan received the Waterman Gold Medal. Alim Bisimbayev is the first Kazakh musician who won the Leeds International Piano Competition. (2,411 people were infected with coronavirus in Kazakhstan in the last day. The city of Almaty recorded the highest single-day increase in the number of cases. 498 residents tested positive for COVID-19 here, plus 396 cases in Karagandy region. Almaty region took the third place with its 232 coronavirus cases. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the total number of COVID-19 cases in the country has exceeded 867,000. Meanwhile, according to the Kazakh Health Ministry, to date, more than 67,000 people in Kazakhstan continue to receive treatment for coronavirus. Over 12,000 patients out of them are in hospitals. The coronavirus vaccination campaign is well underway in the country. To date, over 6,247,000 people have been fully vaccinated in Kazakhstan. The US COVID-19 death toll has surpassed that of the Spanish flu pandemic at the beginning of the last century. According to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University, the COVID-19 has already killed 676,000 US residents, while the victims of the Spanish flu, which raged 100 years ago, were about 675,000 US citizens. However, some researchers believe that the official death toll for the Spanish flu has been underreported. Moreover, the country's population at that time was significantly lower. Now, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the top US infectious disease expert, has said that vaccination could reduce mortality from COVID-19. To date, about 70 million US citizens have not yet been inoculated against the virus. Argentina will open its borders to foreign travelers on October 1st. Authorities first plan to allow citizens from neighboring countries to enter the country, and in a month the borders will be open to all tourists. This was reported by the Argentine Health Ministry. Unvaccinated international travelers will be required to undergo quarantine upon arrival. It is expected that a full course of vaccination as well as a PCR test will be required for entry. Plus, in a few days after arriving in the country, foreign travelers will need to do a second PCR test. In the meantime, a Bangkok reopening date to international tourists has been moved by Thai authorities from October 1st to October 15th. The government's proposal was postponed due to the small number of vaccinated residents in the Thai capital. Bangkok's reopening can take place only if 70% of the city's population is vaccinated against the coronavirus. To date, only 37% of residents have been fully vaccinated. CIS militaries are all connected. The member states of the Commonwealth of Independent States will create a unified communication support system for the armed forces. Today, the bill to ratify such an agreement was approved in the Majlis of the Kazakh parliament. According to Timur Dandabayev, the country's Deputy Minister of Defense, the initiative will help the military to exchange all types of information in the armed forces control system. It will involve the resources of all signatory states. Dandabayev noted that such a measure will enhance the combat capability of the armies of the CIS countries. Moreover, the adoption of the new agreement will not require additional costs from the state budget, he stressed.
Смысл этого соглашения в том и заключается, чтобы обеспечить
The purpose of this agreement is to ensure the interchange and therefore the interoperability of these communication systems. In this situation, Russia undertakes the obligation to provide us with technical means of communication, which will be used in ensuring communication within the CIS. But this doesn't mean that it can somehow affect the existing communications and the command of the troops. We have our own communication system for closed and open segments.
В связи с этим у нас имеется своя система связи, закрытая сегмента и открытого сегмента.
Nearly 450,000 containers have been transported from China to Europe through Kazakhstan, Russia and Belarus over the past 8 months. According to experts of the Eurasian Development Bank, this became possible thanks to the coordinated actions of the countries. The main advantage of such transport logistics is the shortened delivery time of cargoes. The goods can arrive in Europe in just 2 weeks. Meanwhile, it takes more than a month to deliver it by sea. The most developed transport corridor is the Central Eurasian that passes through Kazakhstan. According to the bank's forecasts, this route will continue to be on top. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic, EAEU countries managed to increase the volume of railway transportations by more than 60%. Experts believe that in the future, the annual flow through the EAEU may grow at least threefold. The combined revenues of the partner countries' railways could reach $10 billion. It is necessary to update and increase the fleet of feeding platforms, which will help to increase the transit container traffic. In general, there is one recommendation of a general nature for the EAEU member countries. The countries do not need a mega project, the second Trans-Siberian Railway. To expand the bottlenecks of the transport infrastructure is enough. This is first of all the construction of additional railway lines, the electrification of sections of the railway lines, the clearing of difficulties at loading points in border areas, and the introduction of new digital solutions. An enterprise for the production of soda ash will be built in Kazakhstan for the first time. This product is necessary for the development of fields such as glass, chemical, metallurgical, mining and textile industries. The project worth $400 million will be implemented with the participation of Turkish investors. The unique project features environmentally friendly and waste-free technologies in manufacturing products. The construction of the plant is expected to begin in the third quarter of this year. It is planned to be completed in 3 years. At the initial stage, the production capacity of the plant will be 500,000 tons of products per year, bringing it to 1 million tons. This will allow Kazakhstan not only to move away from imports of soda ash, but also to rank with such leading manufacturers as China, Turkey, the United States and Russia. In addition to meeting domestic needs, the country will be able to export goods to Western China and the CIS countries in the future. Twenty Kandas, ethnic Kazakh families, arrived in Kazakhstan from Iran. They were settled in 3 villages in the north of the country, Petrovka and Nikolaevka in Yesil district and Sergeyevka in Shal-Akhan district. Before reaching the place of permanent residence, the ethnic Kazakhs traveled a long way from Iran to Kazakh city, from Aktau to Nur-Sultan and then to the north. It feels amazing. I'm happy that I came to the homeland of my ancestors. My wife is also happy. We want our children to know their native language and preserve their culture. Therefore, we decided to move here. Although it's cold outside, it warms my heart. The ethnic Kazakh families will have to apply for citizenship and find a job. Some of them are planning to start their own business. Special courses will be organized for those who want to improve the Kazakh language. The arrived Kandas people take part in the state program Jibek. Each family will receive a subsidy in the amount of 204,000 tenge. More than 500,000 grants will be available to provide first aid.
Ираннан қазір уақытта 10,000 қазақ, этникалық қазақтар тұрады.
Today, 10,000 ethnic Kazakhs are living in Iran. This is 1,500 families. There are many Kandas people in some cities of the Islamic country. They will be able to come soon as well. According to the Department of Employment and Social Programs, since the beginning of the year, nearly 40 families have moved from Russia and Uzbekistan to North Kazakhstan region. They also received the status of Kandas. In the city of Karagandy, an educational website is being formed to provide complete information about the development of the region. It will include all archaeological and architectural monuments of central Kazakhstan. One of them is the Aktau fortification that was built in 1837. The height of the rampart reached 2 meters, and the depth of the surrounding moat was up to 3 meters.
веб-сайт арқылы әрбір өлкенің оның тарихын
This website introduces the history, geography, genealogy, toponymic data of each area. Young people can get all the necessary information on their smartphones. Thus, we want them to receive data through the use of information technologies.
Осы неге ақпараттық жүйеге жақындату.
Documents about the Aktau fortification and artifacts found nearby are currently stored in the Janarka Museum.
5 копеек, 3 копеек дейді, сосын жаңа солдаттардың түймелері.
We have 5 tsarist rubles, 3 kopecks, soldiers' buttons, rings worn by women of that time. All these are valuable artifacts for the museum.
Тілі және құлыпы. Осы құнды жәдігерлер бар бізде музейде.
Archaeological research of the fortress has not yet been conducted. The main source of information is archival documents that include numerous reports and private correspondence of the officers who worked here. This year, for the first time, researchers made a detailed filming of the building from a quadcopter and submitted documents for including the monument into the list of sacred places of Kazakhstan. Historians hope that this will attract tourists to the region. Over 500,000 Kazakh students received the opportunity to study the publications of the top foreign universities in the state language. The results of the unique project entitled New Humanitarian Knowledge, 100 new textbooks in the Kazakh language were summed up in Nur-Sultan. Experts worked 4 years on its implementation. Each of the 100 textbooks has a circulation of 10,000 copies distributed to the educational institutions in the country. Electronic versions of the books are freely available on the portal Open University of Kazakhstan. In addition, online courses have been developed within the project. About 2 million people started them in the past academic year.
Оқулықтардың негізінде енді мына қазіргі заман талабына
Modern online distance learning courses were developed based on these textbooks, and the video lectures were also recorded. A total of 200 courses and over 5,000 video lectures were produced. They have become an excellent tool for students and educational institutions, especially in the transition to distance learning format during the pandemic when studies were online.
оқу орындарына өте жақсы көмекші құрал болды деуге болады.
Осыған дейін де аударылды, еңбектер болды, бір ғасырдың ішінде әр кезеңде, бірақ ол дәл осындай
Many different works and books have been translated up to the present moment. However, it should be noted that previously there were no projects of this scale in our country. No such work was carried out. Most importantly, the best academic bestsellers and books included in the curricula of the world's best universities, which had been reprinted several times, were selected. Now the works of these scientists are available in the Kazakh language, and this is a great achievement.
Оқушылардың қолына өзінің ұлт тілінде аударылып жету үлкен жетістік.
With Warner Classics and was awarded a European Tower. The 23-year-old Alim Bisimbayev is the first laureate from Kazakhstan in the history of the Leeds International Piano Competition. He is now completing a master's degree at the Royal College of Music in London.